I was just joking when I said that institute was like pre-production and our professional life, so to say, the early professional life and active life is like production, and what happens afterwards is post-production. So we have reached the production part.
Let me connect from that idea of de-schooling. I think it's an important idea because what happens is when you blow your mind with something as tremendous as an exposure to the Film Institute, all the baggage, morality, middle class, and education, and all that kind of a thing, one drops it off somewhere along the line, and I'm not sure about others, but to my mind. And instead, there is a kind of a freshness in this vacuum. There is something that arrives and you welcome, because these things are fresh and they're pointing towards a new direction. It's something that you haven't known or seen before. It's something that is unknown, uncharted territory for us Indians. And finishing 3 years is a pleasure. I mean, one doesn't do work all the time, but 3 years
It's a long time.
3 years is a long time. It's a very short time as well.
Yeah.
If one is really imbibing and being with it. I thought 3 years were a very nice time actually.
Yeah.
Just about enough.
Definitely.
Because one needs to internalize, contemplate a lot. One needs to realize, one needs to externalize, one needs to talk among peers, one needs to watch more movies, one needs to study. The only regret that I might have had is that through English language, the European literature and European cinema theories were not really accessible to us. What was happening when I was a student in Europe in terms of linguistics and structuralism and in terms of new knowledge being generated was not accessible to us. At that time, what was accessible was a Russian model.
Yeah.
And Bela and Andre Bazin, a couple of fellows, just chucked in from Europe.
Yeah.
And the rest of it was Hollywood. Anyway, one took what one could, and one did it quite wisely, I think.
Yeah.
And chose. I think it just got into me like a nail on my head. Chose my school. I said, this is how one must look at the other.
Yeah.
The connection has to be formed, and here is a medium, and this is the method of connecting with the other.
Yeah.
And another. It's a triadic thing between the audience, the person who's in the film, and the person who's making the film.
Yeah.
It's a kind of a triadic thing, and if it all clicks, you have a good film.
Yeah.
After that, what happens is that this de-schooling thing and your parents' psychological pressures. I was doing my first film in Delhi, when my father found in the newspapers that Union Public Services Commission. There's an opening in Delhi with the Films Division of Ministry of Information and Broadcasting.
Yeah.
He sent me a filled form like my birthday, this, that, everything. I need to sign it, post it. I went for the interview right there and they selected me.
Yeah.
So there we are. I mean, I did defense training films.
That's Films Division, yeah.
That's Films Division Delhi, the Defense Films Wing. And very soon I began to realize that I am actually teaching people how to kill more efficiently.
Yeah.
And it doesn't agree with my honest sense and so on. So I sought a transfer to Bombay.
Yeah.
Sociological film, snake in Indian mythology,
Yeah.
urban pollution, and that kind of thing, subjects. But wondering whether why not to continue with that, and also, I mean, you see, Bombay was a place which was full of my friends.
Yeah. In Delhi we were together, and apart from this fact that you had to make films for the defense, there were other perhaps problems of dealing with a certain bureaucratic approach to filmmaking.
For sure, and I'm not trying to get into all that.
Yeah.
Because these are things which are peripheral, they are systemic.
Yeah, but they also were reasons for people to get disenchanted from that kind of environment.
These are systemic things of bureaucracy and hierarchy and so.
But before that, you also worked with money on Uski Roti.
Briefly, it didn't carry any impressions on me. Money just took me on, and I just went along.
Yeah.
That's the sum total of it.
Yeah. And then you went to Bombay after joining film division.
I mean, yes, I came flitted between Delhi and Bombay almost all the time.
Yeah.
And then I asked for a transfer. I said, what is this? Look at me. I'm teaching people how to kill others more efficiently, whether it's for our defense or whether it's offense, or I don't know. But so please, can I move to Bombay, where one was treated as a second-rate citizen. You know, आप तो सरकारी नौकर हैं, तो हम लोग तो सब independent filmmaker हैं, तो आइए बैठे चाय वाय पीजिए, that type of thing. So
when I joined film division, was going to join, Bansi Chandra Gupta told me, so Jesus Christ, you are allowed yourself to be crucified. Joining film division.
No, but what really happened was that my first child was born in Bombay, and the second was coming, and I was doing with Rashmi Mayur, who's known as the Prophet of Doom, film on urban ecology, and the most affected person by my own was me, you know, by my own film, and I decided. Also, as I was saying, Bombay is full of my friends, and they went out of their way to help me with that movie. And Films Division somewhere just dragged its feet, you know, I couldn't get a car in time. This was also one of those rare films that, being in Bombay, I had to shoot in Bombay. I've hardly ever done that sort of thing. I've always gone out in the, what we call Greater India. And to me, it's like a living studio. It's wonderfully quiet. You can use sync sound.
Yeah.
There is beautiful sunlight if you are aware of it. So this was a kind of an anomalous thing which struck me in more than one ways, and I consulted Mani and others. I said, look, if you don't want to do commercial films, and look at this environment in which we are trapped. Then why do we live here? I mean, what's the compulsion? You know, we can go and do whatever we like, wherever we like, you know. No, when I said it's all moralistic, jingo. Even if we get mutated, there was this Rashmi Mayur theories, you know, that if you live in continual pollution, you might even, you know, genetically start mutating as human beings.
Yeah.
He said we'll still know love, we'll still know procreation. I didn't want to get into that, but we did move out. What happened immediately, concurrently, was, I don't know how, because when I was packing to leave, some other old friends of mine who had set up a kind of a center for development of instructional technology, so to speak, send it. They just dropped into my house and said, Rahat, enough is enough, chuck the government and come and we have work for you. And I had already chucked it, you know. How it happened, I'm not sure. There is a tendency that I just go, you know. And how am I taken, you know, there is no security net of any sort, but it's a incredible feeling, Vishnu, I'm telling you. how many times it has happened to me that I've become kind of, I begin to, I begin to this thing,
Wonder.
wonder, of course, anticipate it.
Yeah.
चल कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं निकल जा रहा you go and by the time you are halfway home there is something else and it's better than before often, so send it. It's miraculous the way these guys just came home and said okay. I said I'll come, and I went, and between Paddy and I, they said bring a sound recordist also. So Paddy and I swung the whole thing. All right. Then of course we had some kind of a problem, and this time it was me. I looked at the paper and there was again a UPSC opening for professor's post at the Film Institute in the same department, screenwriting
And direction.
and film direction. I said, coming back home in a sense, let's go back to Film Institute. And they held the interview also at Pune. So it was like one trip. So I just walked into the chamber where they were wanting to interview me. And I just, nothing, I mean, it didn't feel anything at all. And they said, Rahat, you have to take it up. Now it connects back to some time when I was a student, when I said we had a lack of this European knowledge. In this meanwhile, the British Film Institute and through English press and all that, they were in Indian market a glut of such books, and I had known them here and there. So I was taken in at the beginning of a 2-month holiday.
Yeah.
I spent those 2 months because administratively you're supposed to come.
Yeah.
Students weren't there. I took those 2 months to look at various glossaries and ordering books after books. And after all that, my room was stacked with my own personal and all the material, the new knowledge had come. And I just ravished through it. By the end of 2 months, new students were taken. Anup was among one of those.